Alright, let's see if everything's working as intended. Just give me a minute here. Bah! Okay, that looks like it's working. Hello everybody, and this is Super Mario Rayman 1. Welcome to the final episode of Let's Play Satisfactory. In the last episode, we gonna finish automating plutonium, throwing it into the sink, and started filling the last objects needed for the space elevator. Nuclear pasta and thermal propulsion rockets. This time, the space elevator is now completely full, and today we're gonna be having one last look at the entire factory, beginning to end, before we launch everything into space and see what is our final reward for completing the game, Satisfactory. Let's get started. I should probably use the restroom first while this loads. Oh, wow, fine. Okay, let's restart the program then.
Kingdom.
Hopefully it doesn't crash this time. Oh, at least it didn't crash while I was letting it idle today. That's the most important part. Here we are. As you see in the upper right, we have completed the space elevator phase. And see that I have some assembler director systems in my inventory. Well, that was because earlier today, I went over here to check on my assembly director systems, and they're all backed up. They're all clogged up. I made way more than I needed for the elevator. It's not clogged or backed up by anything else, though. This is all it is. It's kind of funny. Let's grab our inventory back. Yeah, before we send all these supplies off into space, we're gonna take one last look at our factory, see what we've done, look at what we accomplished, admire all the work we've made. How many tickets do I got? 128. Let's see what happens when I put 50 of these bad boys in here then. Oh, that boosted it up to like another couple tickets. Sorry about that. And I guess we could just turn this off. Get all these. Get all these. Get all these. Oh. Come on. Alright, there we go. Delete that, delete that. Delete that, yeah. And this can stop eating our supercomputers. So that's 154 more assembler director systems I can throw in here. Or was that 200 something? Look at how many more coupons that throws into here. Woo! Well, these aren't going to be needed for anything else, so might as well throw them in the sink. There's 144. That's really nice. I guess what we could do now is start deleting all this jazz that we used to fill the space elevator. That's for sure. Put those in our pocket, put that in our pocket. And I should probably hook these up to directly into the sink eventually, because that's all they're for. Yeah, honestly. And, yeah, this is for supercomputers, yeah, so... This is for supercomputers, I could just put this here. And... Is this one for supercomputers? This port, supercomputers, yeah. This is going to go directly into our storage. Oh wait, where was the conveyor belt I used for supercomputers? Is this it? Is this it? I think this is it. Oh god. Okay, good. I can still keep track of it. Yeah. This one, unfinished belt. Come on, thank you. Oh, look at these supercomputers. Ooh. Now the supercomputers go directly into storage. Turbo motors too. Those are going to be led directly into storage. I guess this is the line for turbo motors. Let's see, right here. And this is for turbo motors. Get these turbo motors back in our pocket. There's batteries, disconnect those. Yeah, just let it be that. That's perfectly fine the way it is. Delete all of these. This manufacturer. Delete all this junk. It's really nice cleaning all this up. Or the space elevator to be sent into space one last final time. One last final time. What a thrilling finale to our series. Particle accelerator. Should probably sort these out. Oh, definitely cover that back up. Assembly director systems are like these ones, yeah. Still waiting in storage. Put these alkyd sheets in storage. Alright, here we are. Please, thank you. You can put these adaptive control units and automated wiring in the sink too. We don't need any more of those. Bop, bop. Fine to delete all of these. Delete all these for the magnetic field generators. Delete all these conveyor belts. Okay, good. Not quite filled yet. Still have a bit of space left. Oh yeah, that's the... there a chest on the floor? I wouldn't know. I would not know. See these heavy modular frames and computers. Computers away. Electromagnetic control rod. Do I even have... Oh yeah, I do. I do have storage for it. Yeah, right here. Let's see what we got over here then. Ah, great to know. Bob and Bob. Might take a little while to delete all these. Clean this up. Let's see how that looks now. Nice. Oh, that's nice too. What? Where was it placed? Oh. Come on. I gotta hook up these to the sink. Okay. Put a merger right here. Automated wiring being fed directly into the sink from now on, so we don't need any more. Yeah, you might want to cover that. It's nice. Delete that one. That one, these. Some of this cable away, I guess. Come on. Alright. Circuit boards. And computers. Regular old circuit boards. Heavy modular frames. Okay. These. Oh wow. What? Getting rid of that pole. I think we gotta make sure that we got everything deleted. These chests. Oh, I can't just leave these hanging around. You know what? I'm very curious. Oh, I can stand on them. That's pretty funny. Not that I'm gonna need them. That will do, donkey. That will do. I'm gonna go use the restroom again. You and me, and life's for the people you like and I. Alright. Is that everything involving the space elevator dealt with? That might just be. Might just be it. Anything involving these. Yeah, I would assume it wouldn't take a lot of components. Well, guys. I guess that's everything involving the space elevator cleaned up. All brushed off aside. Or this too. This too. We remember our humble beginnings, don't we? It all started with us just placing the hub starting on this area. Our old storage used to be around here, where you put all the crates. That's why all these other belts are still here. They would go around and go into the storage. That all started with this one miner. This one miner that made... You not? Wouldn't like it if you didn't. Oh, yeah. It all started with this one miner making out these plates. These plates right here, our first ever constructor and smelter. And then we wanted a second constructor making plates too over here. Put a merger on that, so it would make a total of 40 plates per minute. They had this one making rods. Over here, two of them. Oh, great for me to have hiccuping when I'm trying to have a heartfelt moment. two constructors trying to make these rods. Two constructors trying to make these rods, which makes a total of 30 iron rods per minute. And then we eventually got this one constructor overclocking to make 60 screws per minute using the cast screw recipe. Those are all of our basic iron elements. We also had our copper over here. Our copper over here is... Oh. What happened with my phone? There we go. Our copper over here. Doing its thing, doing its job. First started out with just making simple wire. Going all the way to our storage over there. Then we got a second constructor that was at first making cable at 15 per minute. But then we decided to double our wire input into there to make, well, 60 wire per minute to make 30 cable per minute. And this was chugging along 45 copper per minute now. And eventually we got around to having a smelter making 20 copper per minute to make 10 copper sheets per minute. Over here. And of course, can't forget this good old limestone node over here. Got around the mountain to the top where there were hatchers before. We still have the same old miner Mark 1 from before. Still pumping out 120 limestone per minute. And we utilize that 120 limestone per minute to make a total of, I guess, that is 45 concrete per minute. Not bad. 45 concrete per minute. That's how much we were getting. Over here is when we stopped getting the basic elements of our base and started making something a little more serious. This is our reinforced plate production over here. Using 60 iron. I accidentally grabbed it. Or, but whatever. Making the screws at a total of 60 screws per minute, I guess. And plates at a total of 30 plates per minute. To make 5 reinforced plates per minute. These reinforced plates would at first be thrown over to... And now they're going back to our base. Nice. And the nets line, I believe, would go all the way here to our rotors. These are our rotors, right? Oh no, those are the modular frames. Here are the rotors over here. Still working a little bit. Makes 20 iron per minute, 25, that's a total of 45 iron per minute. Let's see, 50 screws going that way, that's a total of 100 screws per minute. And that's 10 rods, that's a total of 20 rods per minute. Boom, making 4 rotors per minute that way. And over here, we've got our modular frames being made. 24 plus 24, that's a total of 48 iron per minute being made. To make 18 plates going into here and 36 screws per minute going into here. To make 3 reinforced iron plates per minute. And another 12 iron to make 12 iron rods per minute. So we can make 2 modular frames per minute. Sometimes I wondered if I should have upped the modular frame production a bit, but it worked out in the end, didn't it? Eventually. Yeah, after those modular frames, I believe what came next was the shattered rebar. where we were making 10 iron per minute to turn into iron rods, to turn into iron rebar at 10 per minute, and we started using these crystals for the first time, making 15 quartz crystals per minute, and rods to make 5 shatter rebar per minute. That's what we use for our little shotguns for the rebar gun. Over here, if I remember correctly, this is the smart plating. 23.25, I guess then that's 46.5 iron per minute being thrown into here. 37 screws over here, 37 screws over there. Is that 74 screws per minute, I think? And another 10 iron rods per minute, 12 iron plates per minute. So we can make 2 reinforced plates per minute over here, and 2 rotors per minute over here. Yeah, 24 of the screws went in there, and 54 went into there. That way, in the total, this will be making reinforced iron plates at 2 per minute, 2 rotors per minute, which was 2 smart plating per minute. And this all goes down and goes directly into sync eventually. Pretty neat. Oh, look at if my phone would stop turning off. Stop freezing, please. So I can see your guys' chat. There we go. I wonder what happened next, because this was all the basic iron production. Over here, I believe. Go all the way back here. Oh no, the autosave's gonna really screw up with that. That is when the very first step of us making Caterium, placing the MAM here, I believe, and trying to put everything back into place. Just making Caterium at 12 per minute for 36 ore. And making quick wire at 60 per minute, which is the maximum speed that one of these Mark 1 belts can go. I gotta say, that was pretty fun, wasn't it? Pretty fun going through all this journey of automating our whole factory. That's all the iron production. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? Nah, I think that's all the basic production went over. Then down here, we started with our steel production. Our steel production. All the way down here, at first we were using the normal steel recipe and chugging out 90 steel per minute, 90 iron and 90 coal per minute into these machines, but now it's been reduced to using a mere only 60 coal and 60 iron per minute. To make 30 steel ingots per minute, which would go directly into these steel pipes, and another 60 steel ingots per minute to go into these steel beams, and 15 steel beams per minute, and 20 steel pipes per minute. Thanks to the solid steel recipe, that really saved us a lot. Let's see, let's try to remember what happened next in our factory. Oh yeah, I can't forget our coal generators. Our coal generators over here. We finally got started on making coal power. I got it all with an even load done with 120 coal per minute coming this way. Using 3 of these water extractors at 100% clock speed to feed into these 8 coal generators. Huh. Wonder why it's not getting the coal it needs. That doesn't make sense. Oh no, they're never offline. These are running at 100% capacity. Yeah, I thought they weren't getting any fuel, but no, they're doing perfectly fine. They're just getting fuel just barely before they run out. Always working. None of these are at yellow. Don't need to worry about that. I could have sworn I gave these a lot more buffer, though. Nah, I guess everything's working perfectly fine. I even have this mess of conveyor belts made very specifically so that only 30 coals going into this way, and a total of 120 coal is always going this way. To make another 10 generators. Exactly 120 coals going into these. And the last 30 are going into these two. At least I know these puppies still have plenty of buffer. Almost making me consider to take half of that buffer away. But I don't really want to do that. I very specifically want to make sure to keep that in mind. We got the 3 water extractors over here, and the 1 water extractor pumping into this one. It's going underneath the platform. I think that's pretty funny. Because, well, you know, as long as the head lift stays even eventually. Let's see, what else did we have? I believe what was next on the menu were... Oh yeah, that's when I decided it was time to automate the versatile frameworks. The versatile frameworks took quite a lot of iron to make. Let's see, we needed 30. And so I guess that's 64.375 iron per minute chugging into this. 2.625 iron coming into here to make these reinforced iron plates. Then just exactly 15 iron per minute going into here to make 15 rods per minute. So make 2.5 modular frames per minute. And the rest of the iron was used to make this steel. So that's a total of 20, 30, 30. I guess that's 80 iron per minute going into these 3 foundries, which are working to make 120 steel per minute in total, which makes 30 steel beams per minute and 2.5 modular frames to create 5 versatile frameworks per minute. As of that, of course, I believe that's when we started making these encased industrial beams. I believe that's what they are. Yes, at 6 per minute with the regular recipe. Of course, we needed to use a total of how much iron? 34. So that's 64 iron, 64 coal. Make 44 iron and 51 steel per minute going into these bad boys, which is a total of, I guess, 96 steel per minute. Yep, that looks like the right amount. And all the concrete at 30 per minute. These are using 90 limestone per minute to create the 30 concrete per minute we need to make the sits and case industrial beams per minute. After that, we moved on to making stators. Stators, they require a total of 15 iron per minute and 15 coal per minute to make 22.5 steel per minute and make 15 steel beams per minute for these. And we used a total of 20 copper per minute to make 40 wire per minute in order to make the 5 stators per minute that we've been using. Lovely. Let's see, what else did we do? I believe what was next were, of course, the motors, the regular old motors. We decided to use the steel rotor recipe. And what we did was take 40 copper, 30 copper, which is a total of 70 copper per minute to make 30, that's 60, 140 wire per minute used to make 5 stages per minute. So that's a total of 10 rotors per minute and 5 stages per minute. Not to mention all the steel we needed was a total of 25 iron from each of these, which is 50 iron and 50 coal per minute to make 75 steel ingots in order to make the 50 steel pipes per minute. Needed to power each and single one of these individually. And that makes it 1-to-1 of being able to make 5 motors per minute. Special little motors. They grow up so fast. And they clog up real fast too. Let me try to remember what we did next. I don't know if I remember very well what we did next. I guess all we focused on after that was actually the plastic, if anything. Hey Graham, hope you're having a good time. Taking a little trip down memory lane is all. Over here, this is where we first found our oil. Right here, it's extracting how much 60 per minute in order to fuel these 2 refineries, making 20 rubber per minute and 20 plastic per minute, which produces a total of 30 heavy oil residue. If we can just get through here. This refinery at first would turn heavy oil residue into residual fuel, and then that would be pumped into some buffers, some liquid buffers. But now the poor guy had its recipe changed to be making diluted packaged fuel, which turns 30 heavy oil residue per minute into 60 packaged fuel per minute. Yep, that's exactly how much we needed. And what we did for making 60 packaged water per minute let's go all the way back here. I don't think I have it yet. Just don't worry about that. I rarely go back on my older assembly lines to really look again at how everything's working and doing its job. Let's see. Ah, right over here, our steel canister recipe that we use to its fullest. Using 60 steel at this lane and 60 steel in total in this lane, which used another 80 iron and coal per minute to make just these canisters. So we took half of the line of this line to put in here to make 60 containers per minute that would go into this packager, taking the package water from this extractor and bringing it back home. Let's actually delete these foundations. What are these still doing here? Yeah, that was just to measure something. Already connected. Alright, good. It's working. And total making 60 water per minute and using the 60 empty canisters per minute. Bringing that back all the way to the original place to make the package fuel at 60 per minute. Not to mention we decided to take the remaining 20 empty canisters per minute and throw them back into storage for us to use in other future projects. Let's see, let me try to recall what we did after that. See what we did after all that jazz. There's some overflow. Residuals still going into there. That's just a regular old merger. Left is of course still overflow. Ah yes, over here. This is where we just gotten started on making fuel generators. Yep, just barely gotten started. This puppy is now pumping out 240 oil per minute. And I believe taking out as much as 120 polymer resin away. These fuel generators are receiving a total of how much fuel per minute? I guess that's 160 fuel per minute. We needed to make a little extra in order to be able to power the extra machines that were needed for the turbo fuel generators. And this one is still only consuming a total of 4 kiloliters of fuel per minute. And every single one of the other ones are running at 100%. Nice, it's really nice. So that's a total of how many generators? I believe that's 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's see. That's 7 food generators right there, plus another 7 over here. So that's 14 fuel generators that we used just to start off in fuel generators. Alright, now let's go back home to see what other things we automated. I believe, if I remember correctly, after that is when we started making circuit boards out of the silicon circuit board, so we don't need to actually touch any plastic at all to make these things. Using 16.5 raw cores per minute to make 27.5 silicon per minute. Exactly what we needed. Not to mention, what we needed was a total of... Oh yeah, what we did is that we used these refineries to save a little bit more on copper, using only a mere 22 copper ore per minute, but still outputting, I guess, 7.5 times 2, that's 15 plus 40, which is 55 copper per minute. Getting 55 copper per minute is exactly how much we needed to get all the copper we needed for the sheets at 27.5 copper sheets per minute. That was also the first time we tried integrating the new idea of using packagers and unpackagers to transfer water up and down here without using any pumps at all whatsoever. We got it unpackaging water up here at 44.69 water per minute. And then it sends all the unpackaged water back down here to this packager eventually. Well, the thing is that it's not really unpackaging canisters back down here at much of a rate anyway. Yeah, see, these canisters aren't really being used yet. If we go back up here again, I believe we will find eventually where we're making our crystal computer recipe, where we're making computers at 2.813 per minute. These crystal oscillators are being thrown into this machine, and let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, the same sheets recipe. Over here is our iron that we're being used, 32.86 over here. Which I guess is 92.86 iron per minute being thrown into these machines. And a total of 39.4 copper per minute being thrown into here for all the cables that we need. Which means copper wire at 78.8 wire per minute in order to make 39.4 cable per minute. All this iron, how much are we using again? Oh, yeah, 92.86 iron per minute to make. It's at 42.24 plates per minute, and it's 118 screws per minute, I guess. And more or less, I kind of overshot it a bit. I guess because I didn't want to make it underclock. To make 7.04 reinforced iron plates per minute. And that's enough to get all the reinforced iron plates we need to make these crystal oscillators. And for the rest of these crystals, of course, these evenly split. I don't know if I want to do the math for that. For all these crystals going into the oscillators. And then for, let's see, the circuit board at 7.5 per minute using 16.5 copper sheets for 16.5 copper ingots per minute. created by this smelter. And a silica course being made at 60.5 per minute from 9.5 raw quartz per minute to go into these computers. After that, I believe, is when we started working on the pretty little heavy modular frames over here. See, the heavy modular frames were using a mere 60 iron per minute in order to make these screws and iron plates for the 5 reinforced iron plates per minute, a replica of the other setup over there, but only with 2 constructors this time. And making these modular frames. And this recipe called for a lot, and I do mean a lot, of steel pipes chugging out and needing a total of, let's see, 124.375 iron and coal per minute just to make the total amount of steel pipes we needed, which was 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So it's 124.375 steel pipes per minute chugging along this Mark III conveyor belt. Wait, I don't think this is the right speed. No, wait, that's a perfectly fine speed. Because that's only 40 per minute and then 60 per minute going into here. It's even less than 60 per minute going here. I did not screw up. For a second I thought I was playing the entire game not at 100% efficiency. No, it's perfectly fine. That makes it perfectly fine. Yep, 100% efficiency still. And we use all the steel pipe recipes for the modular frames, the encased beams for encased pipes. So we got 3 of these buddies. Look at 3.125 encased industrial beams per minute, which I guess is a total of 9. How much does this need again? Oh yeah, 9.375 encased industrial beams per minute. And all these working at 83.333% to make 2.5 modular frames per minute out of each assembler, which in total is 7.5 regular old modular frames per minute. And another 33.7 of those steel pipes coming this way to fill in the rest. And then another raw 20.625 concrete per minute chugging along through here from this machine. Yeah, this is when we started using the wet concrete recipe. It's now chugging in 103.5. Limestone, we got 103.5 concrete per minute. See, look at it. It's even got the Mark V minor. Not minor, Mark V belt. Chugging into there. Along with the extra water, too. To make those heavy modular frames. Alright, yeah. I believe what happened next. What's going over here is when we finally got around to making oh yes, these bad boys. That's about when we started getting around to these. Making a total of 50 copper per minute to make the 25 copper sheets per minute necessary for these AI limiters. Which, in fact, undoubtedly, is quite a little bit more Caterium than before. We got 10 Caterium going to here for a total of 20 Caterium ingots to make the 100 quick wire per minute. It went into this merger. I accidentally set this backwards, but I said, screw it, let's just make a lift that turns it back around to make the 100 quick wire per minute for the AI limiters. Yeah, look at them. They look so neat, don't they? I remember when the AI limiters looked a little different. Yep. After that mess, if I remember correctly, I think that's when we got it started on smokeless powder. I don't know if that's exactly on par to exactly what order everything went as far as automating things from here. But I'm trying my best here, mate. Ah, yes, here we are. This is when we started using smokeless powder. Okay, going into here. This only extracts a mere 7.5 crude oil per minute. Going into this heavy oil residue recipe, that makes a mere 5 polymer resin per minute. And goes into here, making smokeless powder at 20 per minute. When we needed that, we needed to make a huge conveyor belt line of sulfur and coal all the way here to use 10 coal and 10 sulfur to make 20 black powder per minute for the smokeless powder to make 20 smokeless powder per minute. And then we finally, very surprisingly, used the steel at 23.323 iron per minute and coal to make 35 steel ingots in order to make the 20 iron rods from the 5 steel per minute to make the 20 iron rebar per minute and the 20 steel pipes as well. Turns out I used double the amount of ingredients that I needed for a single manufacturer. Thank the wiki for that, for giving me double the amount of everything I actually did need. So we used a total of 2 manufacturers to make the explosive rebar, totaling at 10 explosive rebar per minute, which I gotta say was pretty much worth it in the end. After that, we decided to get started on using that polymer resin to make polyester fabric. The polyester fabric was used to make 45 polymer resin in total was used to make 15 fabric and 15 rubber per minute, and another extra 37.5 coal per minute to make 7.5 gas filters per minute. Going down that line, doing the thing. Look at that. Pretty neat, huh? I believe what happened next I should probably land in the water. Yeah, that's go back over here. Back up here. And over here is when we started automating the high-speed connectors. The high-speed connectors, I believe, they needed some water going into here. Use some copper over there, use some copper over there for 537, which means a total of, I guess, 50.7 copper per minute in total for the 6.6 copper sheets per minute going into here. 7.5. Not to mention the 12. Oh no, actually it was 7.5 K ingots per minute to make the 90 quick wire per minute needed. And because we were using silicon for both the original circuit boards and the eventual high-speed connectors, because we're making silicon high-speed connectors, it was a total of another 3.96 plus 0.5. Whatever, you get the gist of it. To make 3 high-speed connectors per minute with 37.5 silica per minute. And I believe that's when we finally got started on turbo fuel. As you all remember, the turbo fuel was no easy task, since I wanted to do a total of 210 compacted coal being made per minute. That means 9 of these suckers. 9 assemblers were needed to make the compacted coal at 210 per minute, going down this conveyor belt and bringing it all the way down the line back to where it needed to be. Woo! Look at it go. That's a total of 210 coal per minute and 210 sulfur per minute, chugging through both of the lines. Go. This conveyor belt on its own was bringing 210 compacted coal per minute down the line, and we needed a place that was a total of 2 pure nodes of crude oil in order to make the necessary amount of fuel for these generators. Both of the oil extractors are extracting 236.25 oil per minute on each side and making fuel directly from them with a lot of polymer resin to spare, which is a total of how much fuel, I guess? There's one of these that aren't 100% clock speed. Yeah, this was making 37.5 plus the other I guess that's 120 plus 32.5, 157.5 fuel coming from each individual node. Of course, it needed some valves to make sure they were only going down this line, and we straight up needed pipeline Mark II in order to get through this pipe fast enough. Bringing all that fuel over here with the compacted coal that we had, we needed a total of, I believe it was 14 refineries? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yes, 14 refineries, each and every single one of them running at 100% clock speed, and each one making 18.75 per minute, and I hurt imagining how much turbo fuel is being pumped into here. But let's run the calculator just real quick. The calculator, the cat. Thank you, calculator. Let's see what's 18.75 times 14, which is 262.5 turbo fuel being chugging along these pipes in order to fuel every single one of these generators. I believe this is a total of 59 fuel generators that my good and generous friend Soldier CG went through all the trouble and painstaking labor in order to make all the necessary parts for making every single one of these generators by hand. This is the only one that's at 24%. Every single other generator is at 100% clock speed. Oh my goodness, this was a really proud moment of the entire Let's Play. I was really proud of this one during the Let's Play. I'll say that much. How long has the stream been going on for so far? Barely more than an hour. Take a ride down this polymer resin. Woo, all the way back. Woo! Oh, come on. Don't break my momentum like that. Anything else I'm missing over here? Yeah, that was for something completely different. Let's see what else happened as far as our automation. I could probably just look the storage to remind me. Oh yeah, I remember now. The crystal oscillators. To be honest, just because one manufacturer making one crystal oscillator per minute was not satisfactory, I made two manufacturers making the crystal oscillators for 2 crystal oscillators per minute. Therefore, each one needed a total of 60 raw quartz per minute to make the 30. I believe it's 36 quartz crystal per minute. Let's see how much copper that needed. Oh, and it needed a total of 30 iron. I feel we used a Mark V belt for this? I don't remember using a Mark V belt. Oh well. I needed a total of 60 iron per minute, I guess, in order to make the necessary... That's pretty much a replica of the last one. Just needed 45 iron to make 30 plates. 2 iron to make 60. Oh, 60 screws per minute and make 5 reinforced plates per minute. The copper, if I can find it anywhere. Where is the copper? Where is the copper? Ah, here's the copper. I think I had the copper already being made down there somewhere, but whatever. Using 14 copper from here, 14 for here, which is a total of 28 copper to make the necessary 56 wire per minute for the 28 cable per minute to feed both of these machines for 2 crystal oscillators per minute. Let's see if I am forgetting anything. No. I don't think let me take another look at storage to make sure I didn't forget anything specific. What is next to what we did for our factory? USB connectors. Huh. Well, what this has pretty much told me is that this is when we finally got it started on making our first ever train system over here. We made a train that takes and brings copper, brings bauxite and coal at a total of 600 per minute each freight platform. We've only used a total of 800 bauxite per minute. We are going to ride this train on its tracks, follow it on its trail, and ride it one last time before we end our Let's Play. Look at it undocking. Ah, so satisfying to watch. It says it's ready to go. Oh man, look at all of that. I love how much you can customize the colors of everything in this game. Alright, here comes the first stop, which is the coal. We pretty much never used the second freight platform of coal. And I tell you, it took quite a lot of tweaking forward and back to make sure these train stations were working at 100% efficiency. And we're actually delivering the materials at the rate that the miners were giving them. Quite a lot of math and tweaking to get it working perfectly right. Huh! Alright, let's go. Station is the bauxite. Ooh, look at it go. You know, I was actually eventually planning on bringing 1,000 bauxite and coal per minute through these train stations on each platform. But turns out we never really needed that much bauxite or coal. Alright, it was dropping off the bot site. Nice. Yeah, bring in more bot site. Cons pulling into the base station. Alright. Once we got all that bonsai and coal situated, it was time for us to get started on making aluminum casings and outlet aluminum sheets. We needed a total entirety of our 360 aluminum scrap per minute to make a total of, let's see, the 90 aluminum ingots per minute we needed for this 60 aluminum casing. And the 90 aluminum ingots per minute to be making a total of 90 alkylate aluminum sheets per minute, which only needed another 30 copper ingots per minute in order for them to be hand delivered back to our base. Woo! Straight to the storage. Let's see, what else did we do? Ah, I remember. What we did next is that finally, now that we've gotten aluminum into our storage, we went through all the trouble and dice to finally get started on making turbo ammunition with the new casings we have acquired. That we pretty much had to make everything on the spot and on the fly with these cartridges that needed to be thrown into the MAM that we have not even made yet in the first place. Oh yeah, the oil that we used was from the other train station, but we'll get to that later. Because we first needed some heavy oil residue to make the turbo fuel with the heavy turbo oil. But turbo heavy fuel at 15 per minute with 18.75 heavy oil residue, and use some more of the heavy oil residue to be making the smokeless powder at 16.66 per minute with the sulfur and coal at 8.333 each to make 16.66 per minute, and another 15 sulfur and coal to make the compacted coal per minute to make the turbo fuel and make that sulfur. We also used a bit of steel right here at 15 iron and 15 coal per minute to make 22.2 steel per minute to make the 15 empty canisters per minute, and combine it with the turbo fuel to make 15 packaged turbo fuel per minute. We also used a bit of smokeless powder, and we got ourselves a total of 50 copper per minute going into this machine to make the 25 copper sheets per minute. Wait, what? Yeah, because we needed 2 assemblers to make 25 copper sheets per minute, each splitting into the rifle ammunition at 62.5 from each assembler, to make a grand total of 125 rifle ammunition per minute in order to all be thrown into this turbo rifle ammo to make 250 turbo rifle ammo per minute, with another 15 aluminum casings, which I believe needed 45 aluminum scrap per minute to make the 22.5 gigas per minute for the 15 aluminum casings per minute to be thrown into here. Let's see, what else did we do? Oh yeah, of course. Of course, of course. That jazz is when we started working on... Actually, before that jazz, because the oil we used from this train was actually... whatever. The oil we started using for the turbo fuel for the turbo ammunition comes from this train in these fluid buffers. Here comes the train right now. This was the first time I ever used actual like fluid freight platforms and fluid freight carts. We're gonna be driving around this train and seeing the sights of what it's doing. Yeah, because we hardly use any ammunition. Oh. We hardly ever need to use our oil that we've got bringing over here. Nice and fun little stream showing our roads and milestones are making our factory. Before we launch the suckers into space. Sure does look pretty neat. And this is where we're getting our oil from. This resource well over here. Let me check the map. Oh yeah, that's our second train over there, and that's our other train over here. I called them N2 instead because it's a lot shorter of a name than nitrogen. And we're going to where we're getting our nitrogen from. bring all that fluid back to base. That was weird. Alright. That's it for that train. So after we got that settled in with making that train station too, we decided to get started on making these fused modular frames. These fused modular frames required quite a lot of casing. 75 to be. It's 125. Oh yeah, I used quite a lot of scrap. That was 112.5 aluminum ingots per minute to be thrown into this one machine. Yep, perfectly 100%. These two using 37.5 nitrogen gas, and we also decided to automate the heavy modular frames entirely at 1.5 per minute, again just for the fused modular frames. All that takes place is straight up here. The heavy modular frames for the fused modular frames. This machine is only pumping out 1.5 heavy modular frames per minute and still using the same recipe as last time. This is only pumping out 32 iron ore per minute to make 32 screws and 16 iron plates per minute. Enough to be making 2.666 reinforced plates per minute directly into this one assembler, making 4 modular frames per minute. And also, we gotten a lot more compact for our foundries this time around at making, let's see, that's 76. Oh, just 66.333 iron and coal per minute to make the resounding 99.5 steel ingots per minute. Great, I had the hiccups. Wait, I gotta hit the hiccups again. Oh, Bricky Bombcat, welcome to the live stream. I'm just doing a grand tour of my factory before we send all of our materials up the space elevator. So that makes a total of 66.333 steel pipes per minute. And of course, using more of that wet concrete per minute to use in this machine at 11 concrete per minute, and this at 25 concrete per minute, be using 5 encased industrial beams per minute, which in turn makes the 1.5 heavy modular frames and uses another 18 steel pipes per minute. Let me see. Let me try to remember what we did next. Oh yeah, of course. It's very cool. Yeah, showing out the entirety of the factory. Let's see. Things, by the way, I should say. Each individual one of these refineries for aluminum are using the sloppy aluminum recipe at 200 bauxite, 200 water per minute to make 240 aluminum solution, and uses 120 coal per minute to make the 360 aluminum scrap with 120 water waste per minute. Let's see. Some of that aluminum was used for this over here. The cooling systems at 6 per minute. Means this puppy was using a total of another 120 aluminum scrap, which is 60 aluminum ingots per minute, and some more. There we go, and another 20 copper ingots per minute going into here to make the 60 alkylate aluminum sheets per minute to make a total of 12 heat sinks per minute. Also needed the extra copper going into here at, let's see, 24 times 3, 48 plus 24. Is that like 72 copper per minute, I guess? To make a resounding, 36 sheets per minute. That was necessary to make the heat sinks. What? Oh God! Oh no! Thanks, mate. I just realized. I think I accidentally deleted the pipe that feeds it water. Oh God, no. I don't know when this happened. I don't know where it happened, but I gotta fix this. Oh my God, here it is. Oh. I put a lot of time and effort into this factory in order to get it working. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it this whole time. Okay, now it's getting water again. Whew. Good thing this has a valve on it that's only restricting the flow to be 80 water per minute, or this would have been backed up a long time ago. Oh my goodness. This sucker wasn't even making a single cooling system this whole time. Good thing I looked back at this factory eventually. Oh my lord. That's a heart attack and a half. But now it's finally getting hotter again. Oh, where were we? Again. Oh yeah, the batteries. The batteries are what we worked on next. These batteries required a total, let's see, 52 point, which was 105 aluminum scrap per minute to make the resounding 26.25. I guess that's 52.5 alkylate aluminum sheets per minute. Extra 8.75 there. I can't bother doing the math for that. And the rest of the copper at 15, 15, 15, which I guess was 45 copper per minute to make the necessary 90 wire per minute going into this machine. And I used another 45 sulfur per minute to make these batteries at 30 per minute. The plastic that we used more residual plastic recipe at this time, using a lot more of that polymer resin that we had for waste from polymer resin that we have for waste from the fuel generators, or more specifically the refineries making the fuel for those generators. We needed a total of, let's see, 180 polymer resin and another 60 water to make the necessary 60 plastic per minute for these batteries. Oh, okay, I might want to take a hit of this. Yep. Woo! Ow. A great autosave. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Making the batteries. I believe after that, that's when we started trying our luck at these radio control units. Yep, the radio control units. The radio control units required 4.4 quarts plus, I believe, maybe that's 75 raw quarts per minute. And to make that, which in turn was using 7.333 silica per minute to make the 3.333 circuit boards per minute we needed for the computers. Sheets right here. We made a 14.666 copper just for the circuit boards, and the rest of the copper over here is 11.666, 11.666, all that to make the necessary 70 wire for the 35 cable per minute to be split among the three manufacturers. Each manufacturer making a total of 2.5 crystal oscillators per minute. And for these reinforced plates at 6.25 per minute, needed a total of 75 iron ore. 28.125 iron plates to each one of these to make. Making a total of, I believe, 75 screws per minute. Which required 75 screws and 37.5 lock of phosphate. Yes, I got myself a custom-made virtual webcam avatar for animes. Sponsored animes. I use animes for the virtual webcam that I'm using. Using half of the crystal oscillators I'm making for the crystal computers recipe, making 1.25 computers per minute, and using the other half of the crystal oscillators to be thrown into the radio control units at 1.25 crystal oscillators per minute, and using another 40 aluminum casings, which I believe over here. And they required a total of 120 aluminum ingots per minute to make the 60 aluminum ingots for the 40 aluminum casings per minute. .5 radio control units per minute. Let me try to remember what was the nets for the automation. Woo! Woo! Let's see, this puppy over here will tell me what I may have forgotten. Oh yeah, of course. Okay, nets were the electromagnetic control rods. Over here. How you doing over there, Brecky? You doing good? Let's see. Alright, now I remember. Seems like this only require a total of 12 iron per minute and 12 coal per minute to make the 18 steel ingots for the 12 steel pipes per minute that this machine needed for 6 stators per minute. I mostly use a lot of Caterium for this electromagnetic control rods. 37 and oh, gotta wait for it to autosave. So 75 Caterium ore per minute to make the necessary 25 Caterium per minute. Making 60 quick wire here and 65 quick wire over here. For all, I believe, 125 quick wire per minute. The copper sheets. It took simply another 20 copper ingots per minute to make the 20 copper sheets. For the 4 AI limiters per minute and 6 status per minute using the quick wire stator recipe. Good, and I just love this game. Yeah, me too. I can never get enough of Satisfactory. Put this all together. That's 4 electromagnetic control rods per minute going straight into our storage. Once we started automating electromagnetic control rods, well, King Nets was tackling the nuclear power plants. The nuclear power plants were pretty much in all day, or about 8-hour stream, I believe, or the 7-hour stream, more or less. The nuclear plant. I'm happy you're here to be here for the finale of Let's Play Satisfactory, by the way. I'm really happy that you were able to come here. This is the nuclear plant, making enough uranium fuel rods for a total of 10 nuclear plants over there. All these refineries are chucking out, using 15 copper each. Except for this one, only 2.5 from each. 6.5. 19.75. For all that copper, I don't know if I want to do that math. 7.25 Caterium per minute going there, and 12 over here, 12 over here, 24 Caterium each. And using every single one of these assemblers individually, using the fuse quick wire recipe to make 75 quick wire each. That means a single assembler for every single individual manufacturer. I probably should have tried to load balance these and just hook them up directly And these quartz crystals that were used for a total of 75 silica running into these machines per minute. Yeah, considering each individual manufacturer, there are 5 manufacturers each making these uranium fuel cells. And each machine also requires 25 uranium and 25 sulfur per minute for just these manufacturers. And after that, we head over here. These refineries making the fuck ton of the caterium and the copper that was required for all the recipes. It's quite a lot of refineries for all the recipes we needed. We use a lot of fused quick wire here, each one making 100 quick wire to make the necessary AI limiters. At a total of, I believe, 10 AI limiters per minute. And the copper being used in these copper sheets recipes. Each machine running and chugging with 25 copper sheets per minute. Each one directly hooked up to an individual assembler. Yep, pretty fucking huge. Satisfactory is one of those games that make you want to overdo yourself. Just makes you want to one-up your own self. We're using the regular stator recipe over here. It uses the copper. Oh yeah, we're using the fused regular wire here, which uses 8 copper per minute on each. And 8 copper per minute and 2 caterium for each to make 60 wire per minute with each assembler. Assembler is feeding into the stators, each stators making a total of 15 stators per minute with the 120 wire and the, let's see, that's 45 steel pipes per minute going into here. Speaking of the steel pipes over here are using total 40, 47. So that's 87 iron per minute going into these, and 87 coal per minute going into these, making the necessary 130.5 steel per minute to create all the steel pipes we need, each individual. What? I'm pretty sure it's fine. Each individual constructor is using 26.1 steel ingots per minute to create 17.4 steel pipes per minute, and there are 5 of them. Some of those steel pipes are going into these encased industrial pipe recipes, which require 21 steel pipes per minute to make a total of 6 encased industrial beams per minute, and the rest are feeding into these stators. These AI limiters that I mentioned before, so this is making 10 AI limiters per minute. It's going to make a total of 10 electromagnetic control rods per minute, which requires the grand total at that 15 stators per minute and the 10 AI limiters per minute, pumping out of the machines. Each of them I tried to low balance as much as I could, but you know, this one had to be backed up with all the encased industrial beams first before I could really start up and fire up these machines. What do you do now? Well, I've pretty much done everything that there is to do in Satisfactory as far as automating anything I ever want to automate in the entire game. We're just doing a final factory tour of the entire game before we send off the last of the materials of the space elevator. As you can see on the upper right, the space elevator is completely full and ready to send off. And each and every one of these nuclear power plants have plenty of buffer for uranium fuel rods inside of them. before even starting up. And all of these nuclear power plants are making 10 uranium waste per minute, and since there's 10 nuclear waste per minute, 100 nuclear waste per minute is being thrown down into this plethora of storage containers, which is going to definitely eat through my filters. There is a total of 500 storage containers here as a buffer for all this uranium waste. And yes, I did place power poles everywhere around here for the uranium waste, so I can go around and do every single one of these. I had to put down every single one of these conveyor belts for all the storage containers. Uh, 100 uranium waste per minute. Just circling and jumbling through all these. I'm gonna run all the way back home to see what else is there to show. I think we should send the thing off. Yeah, I will, but, you know, I wanted to give, you know, enough content for this episode of the finale before we send out the whole thing. I mean, I don't want to start an entire live stream just to do 5 minutes to send everything into space, so I thought what would make a pretty compelling finale for Let's Play Satisfactory is do one last full factory tour of the entire place before we send everything off. Oh, and not to forget, I also have one little dinky constructor over here I decided to make not until after making the nuclear plant of turning 22.5 raw quartz into 37.5 silica per minute. Let's see, what else do we have to point out? Ah, yes, the nuclear nobles. These were pretty fun to make. Yeah, the nuclear nobles. Let's see. The nuclear novelist over here needed to use some more smokeless powder from 10 more heavy oil residue per minute and 20 black powder and 20 smokeless powder per minute. Also needed some steel for the pipes at 20 iron and coal per minute and another 20 coal per minute and 20 sulfur per minute to make the 40 black powder. 20 black powder goes into there, and 20 black powder goes into here to make the 10 nobles per minute, with the other 20 steel pipes from the 30 steel ingots per minute on this machine. Each and every single one of these nobles being thrown all the way over here. Woo! Ah, here it is. The nuclear noblest manufacturing. Oh, look at that! They're already backed up. Let's see. We're making the encased uranium cells again, this time only requiring a total of 25 uranium and 25 sulfur, which is a 50 uranium, 50 sulfur entirely, which is 150 quick wire per minute being pumped into here, and just one constructor's worth of silica, 18 raw quartz to make 30 silica per minute. These. We needed quite a lot more copper and caterium than I anticipated we would need. Oh boy, each one of these making 10.8333 caterium per minute. And the copper 37.09 per minute. And how many copper is in? Is like 6? Is that 6 refineries for copper? Yeah. And then another 3 refineries for making the copper sheets from those copper units, making the total of 60 copper sheets for each and every one of these AI limiters. Each of them are making 4 AI limiters a minute, which is a total of 12. Yeah, 12 AI limiters per minute. Not to mention the smokeless powder from before, at 20 per minute, being sent individually to 5 smokeless powder per minute, and using 10 encased uranium cells from each to make the nuclear anomalous. Each individual manufacturer makes 0.5 nuclear anomalous per minute for a grand total of 2 anomalous per minute being pumped out of this machine. These suckers are surely fun to play with, and now they're backed up. And just a whole line of nuclear bombs just lined up for being taken. I believe what's next, we're actually... iodine-infused filters, if I'm correct. The iodine-infused filters is what I manufactured next. They're pretty simple to make. Yeah, they are. Iodine-infused filters. Only needed a grand total of actually just really 22.5 polymer resin per minute and 22.5 water per minute being pumped in it to make the 7.5 rubber and 7.5 fabric per minute, and another 18.75 coal per minute to make the 3.75 gas filters per minute. Then we use just another extra 30 quick wire and 3.75 aluminum casing to make the iodine-infused filters at 3.75 per minute. Pretty simple. Hardly needed to use any more caterium. Hardly needed to use any more aluminum scrap. And then what came next for our project for our factory? Let's see. Ah, yes, of course. Let's just take this hypertube all the way over here. This is possibly the fastest tube that I have in my whole factory because it uses 15 boosters, one in front of the other, each entrance and exit. Woo! Alright. And this is where we have supercomputers being made with a drone port as the method of transportation. With the supercomputers, we needed a grand total of 7 smelters making the Caterium. This one is the only one that's making 9 per minute. Each and every single one of these are making 15 Caterium per minute. This one's making 55. I believe every single one of these constructors are making 55 quick wire per minute, and there are a total of 9 constructors making just the quick wire. Over here we have these are the circuit boards. The circuit boards, each machine is making 6.375 circuit boards per minute and require 25.5 plastic per minute and 12.75 copper sheets. And all the copper sheets and cables are being made over here. These 2 smelters are making the copper ingots for this wire. Each will make a 28.125 copper ingots to make the necessary 28.125 wire per minute, and then converts back to the 56.25 wire to 28.125 cable per minute, which is being used directly into the high-speed connectors, using the circuit boards, the cables, the quick wire into the high-speed connectors. Over here we got the plenty of the copper also being used for the sheets, which needed a total of 6 smelters, each making 27.5 copper ingots per minute, with a grand total of, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 constructors making copper sheets, with one only making 2.5 copper sheets per minute. And over here we are using the Caterium computer recipe, so we can just use one manufacturer for making computers. It needs 26.25 circuit boards, 5 quick wire, and 45 rubber per minute. 45 rubber per minute. All the rubber and all the plastic is being made over here by these refineries. All these refineries in a row are meant to make all the plastic necessary for the supercomputers. Except for these ones over here. I believe this one over here is just making the plastic for the automated wiring. But every single one of these other ones are making the plastic and rubber necessary for the supercomputers. Each one of these are making 15 rubber per minute, and all these at 20 plastic per minute. Yep. Yeah, that's right. Oh boy, each one of them needs 30 crude oil per minute, which was originally, I think, 360 crude oil per minute. I don't know if I remember exactly right. Not to mention, we needed more refineries over on this side to turn all of that heavy oil residue into petroleum coke, and using some of that petroleum coke to be turned back into the steel for the automated wiring. Oh, and over here, we also made sure that there are some smart splitters over here to make sure that any overflow that's being made at all gets sunk directly into the sink, to make sure that these never ever back up, so that the petroleum coke can keep pumping along. All that plastic and rubber AI limiters being made at 3.75 per minute are being thrown into these supercomputers to make 1.875 supercomputers per minute. And then over here, we have the automated wiring being made. These manufacturers are both using the automated speed wiring recipe, which makes 7.5 automated wiring per minute using high-speed connectors in the recipe. For the automated wiring, we needed quite a lot of wire and quick wire too, which needed a grand total of these. Each and every one of these smelters making 26.25 copper ingots per minute just to make all this necessary wire. 30, 30, 28.125 on the rest of these ones, which were a grand total of, I believe, 9 other... Wait, there was actually only 8 making the wire here. And this one's making copper sheets actually at 7.5 per minute. And some of that plastic that is shown over here at 15 per minute from that one refinery was being used for these circuit boards at 3.75 per minute. And some more smelters over here making K2 units per minute at 14 per minute each, which I believe is 42 K2 per minute? I don't know.
I strongly advise you to harvest
I'd
this
rather
specimen.
not get that specimen. Let's use it. Oh yeah, it's 42 K-teria per minute to make the 52.25 per minute for each. This was necessary for the 210 quick wire per minute and 37 cable per minute coming this way. 75 cable or 75 wire going to here. 75 wire going into this manufacturer and 75 per minute to here. And the stators at 3.75, which was, oh yeah, over here. Each assemblers making 3.75 stators per minute, 0.25 steel pipes per minute, which needed a total of 33.75 ingots to make the 22.5 steel pipes per minute, which required yet another 60 wire per minute, 30 from each one of these constructors. And this is using the petroleum coke recipe for steel at this point, using 25.313 petroleum coke and iron to make the 33.75 steel ingots per minute. Here, if I remember correctly, turbo motors are just a hop, skip, and a jump away. This Big Mac Daddy over here is where the turbo motors are being made. Oh yeah, here we are, the turbo motors. Let's see what time we have for the stream now. 2 hours, 22 minutes, 34 seconds. Not too long. Yep, turbo motors being made at 1.875 per minute. All starts over here with the quartz. Quartz, each and every one of these are making silica at 36.75 per minute. These are making 22.5 quartz crystals per minute each, 75 raw crystal. 22.05. Which we're going to go into here, which is being split in between the circuit boards, or 16.5 silica over here, and the high-speed connectors. 31.25 silica from each one, and requiring a total amount seen there, which was 7.5 circuit boards. Each and every one of them needed 75 wire per minute, since each of them were only making 2.5 high-speed connectors. Simply over here that there's only 45k turn per minute being used for all this quick wire. 11.25 wire per minute is being used in each constructor, making the necessary quick wire for just the high-speed connectors. The copper sheets needed for the circuit boards were just, let me see, is that 33 copper per minute total? I guess so, just to make the copper sheets. Which of course makes the 16.5 total copper sheets needed for the circuit boards. Give me a minute, I'm gonna go use the restroom and I'll be right back. Up. Alright, now we're back. Now that made all the circuit boards. Thanks for that. And over here, we have the motors being made. For the motors, I decided to use the quick wire. The quick wire stator recipe and the Caterium wire recipes for the motors. I used a total 11.25 times 3. I guess that's 33.75 Caterium ingots per minute to make all the necessary quick wire. 2 of these is making 56.25 quick wire per minute. Just alone for these quick wire stators. And this one making 90 wire per minute out of the remaining 11.25, and splitting the wire evenly between these 3 assemblers, making 5 rotors per minute, which total makes 15 rotors per minute. 15 rotors per minute. Let's see how many steel pipes that needs for both the steel rotors and the Caterium wire. I also decided to go with the coke steel ingot recipe again this time, using 67.5 iron and coke for 90 steel. It's incredible, this coke recipe is really useful. Well, makes a 90 steel out of that. Each one of these are making a brisk 20 steel pipe per minute, which are being fed into both the rotors and Caterium stators. Make a total of 15 stators and 15 rotors per minute to make the necessary total of 7.5 motors per minute going into this machine. Over here is the Grand Mac Daddy of what's being made for this machine. We have a whole new aluminum refinery with the bauxite and coal in itself to make the aluminum. Gotta wait for the autosave. Let's see. So yeah, this time 166 bauxite per minute to make the 200 alumina solution, and 166 water makes 200 aluminum solution to make 300 aluminum scrap exactly, because that's exactly the amount of aluminum we need for these turbo motors, which also require 100 coal per minute and extra 100 water cycling back into that container. Any excess aluminum scrap goes into the sink, which honestly probably isn't going to be used too much, since all these machines are working double time all the time, never stopping, because we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assemblers making just the Aclid aluminum sheets, every single one of them making 30 per minute, for a total of 150 Aclid aluminum sheets, and using 50 copper ingots. Each one of them uses 30 60 aluminum scrap. And then we have here the heat sinks being made of all those Aclid aluminum sheets, along with the copper sheets, making 7.5, 7.85, which I believe is a total of 30 heat sinks in total. 15 of these heat sinks are being thrown into this radio control unit manufacturer to make the 3.75 radio control units per minute, using the alternate radio connection unit recipe. We're using another 15 heat sinks per minute into the cooling systems to make 7.5 cooling systems per minute. This 15 rubber per minute is being pulled straight from the refineries you saw earlier. And it's also using a total of 187.5 nitrogen gas and 37.5 water from over there. All these copper sheets are being used for the acrylic aluminum sheets come from up here at a staggering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 constructors, all making a grand total of 90 copper sheets from 180 copper alone on this side, and another 50 copper per minute being used on the original acrylic sheets. Fill that all together with a 3.75 control units here, the 7.5 cooling systems, and the 7.5 motors per minute being made. That makes it grand total of 1.875 turbo motors per minute, just using another SS45 rubber per minute to make those turbo motors, sending them off into this drone right here and bringing it back to home base. Alright, with giving a grand tour of all that, I believe it's time to go back home and show the very last assembly line we made in this entire Let's Play. Okay, I can't tell you guys enough, I'm really excited to send everything off into space for the last time. We're gonna see the very last assembly line first though. Let's just take this hyper tube back home. Woo! There we go. The very last assembly line we ever made. Over here. We started working on plutonium. The plutonium needed its own aluminum refinery over here, making 360 aluminum per minute. Oh, aluminum scrap. Of course, some of it is being thrown into the sink. Just some of it. From time to time. Yep, there was a tiny bit. Just right there being thrown into the sink. Yep, there it goes again. We needed a total of 2.775, which is 15 plus, which is 17.7777 repeating heat sinks per minute. Sheets at 70 at the same rate, more or less. Need all these alkylate aluminum sheets with a total of only 28.88 going over here, though. Ah, because that's all we needed for that. Yeah, because it bounces off that thing. 20 smelters are making a grand total of 28.88 here. 30 here, 30 here. And these copper sheets are made somewhere else. 24 high. Not to mention we needed some aluminum casings, just specifically for the instant plutonium cell recipe, which needed 80 aluminum ingots per minute for the aluminum casings. Let's go over here. And this is where it all starts. This entire factory, from beginning to end, is using 100 uranium waste per minute. Every single one of these blenders chews up through 25 uranium waste per minute. And there are 4 of them. Each of them are making 40 water waste per minute. And let's see, we needed 50 sulfuric acid per minute going into here. And 30 nitric acid coming from here to fuel 2 blenders each. There's a refinery and a blender on each side of this machine. They're both getting plenty of water and sulfur and needing 120 nitrogen gas per side and 10 iron plates. This one little dinky constructor over here is making the 20 iron plates per minute from 30 iron per minute for all of these machines in order to make the nitric acid. The blender also makes 100 fissile uranium each, which is a total of 400 non-fissile uranium with the special fertile uranium recipe that requires another 25 uranium per minute for each blender, and 15 nitric acid and 25 sulfuric acid. Using the instant plutonium cell recipe, we can just use the aluminum casings and non-fissile uranium at just 25 per minute to make... Oh wait, that one's running on only 33.333% capacity. They're supposed to be using 10 aluminum casings and 75 non-fissile uranium to make 10 encased plutonium cells per minute. And I have 6 of these buggers running along. Only one of them are at 33.333% capacity. Good thing I have plenty of power for all of them, thanks to those 10 nuclear power plants. All of those cells are being chewed and thrown into these 8 manufacturers. Count them, 8 manufacturers to make the plutonium fuel rods. There are only 2 manufacturers not on 100% capacity, and this is one at 44.4, making 1.11111 plutonium fuel rods per minute, and the other at the very end making 1.66666 0.16666 plutonium fuel rods per minute. These are at 100%, right? Yes, they are. And to make all the necessary components for these plutonium fuel rods, we needed a grand total. Let's see. 40. Let's see, 116 iron ore and coal per minute in order to make the necessary 174 steel per minute. We've thrown into these 2 constructors, each making 16 steel pipes per minute. 24 steel per minute each required, and making these quick wire stators. But the steel, of course, also being thrown directly into these constructors that are each making 16 steel beams per minute, for the total necessity of 32 steel beams per minute being thrown into these machines. We also needed a grand total of 28 K-Terium per minute running into all this fused wire. Only needing 5.278 there and 7.5 each on these other assemblers. Should probably use the hover pack. which leaves 15 plus 7.5. Is that like 22.5 plus 5.275 K2 per minute? 26 minute going into there. To that. And we also need another 6 constructors over here making the copper sheets. Only one of them is making 3.333 per minute copper sheets per minute. All those heat sinks from before are being thrown directly into these manufacturers. That's what all the heat sinks from before were for. And all of the stators that are being made are being... Oh. Actually, no. Yeah, the fuse wire is being thrown into the Caterian steers, which need 16 stators per minute. Which uses 120 quick wire per minute over here, another 100 over here, another 100 over here. Yes, and another 50.33 here, just making 0.66, which is 10.666 AI limiters per minute, 16 status per minute, in order to make the grand total necessity of 10.66 electromagnetic control rods per minute that we need for every single one of these plutonium fuel rods being thrown into every single one of these manufacturers. And it all is being fed directly into this here sink. And that's everything. That's every little single little item we manufactured and made in this great game of Satisfactory. So I believe it's time for us to head back home and finally send these items up the space elevator. I gotta tell you guys, it was a really fun trip. From the ground up, making every single one of these machines. I gotta tell y'all guys, it was a real fun trip. Playing through this entire game, start to finish. Automating everything I've ever wanted to automate in this game. But now our journey has reached its end. Just chuck everything we need in here real quick. let's say hello to the little doggies once more. Just one last time. Hey guys, how's it going? Some wood for me. You got some limestone, some more wood, and what do you have for me? Some limestone. Alright. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for getting me all those power shards, those slugs, and honestly, screw you for getting me any uranium waste. Okay, guys. Man, I'm so... do I know about this? Oh man, look at you guys. Update sits. I surely did love it. That's funny. So the limestone they gave us in here. And the wood that they gave us into here. This uses 60 wood per minute to make 300 biomass per minute. This uses 120 leaves to make 60 biomass per minute. Each one of these constructors uses 120 biomass per minute to make 60 solid biofuel per minute. Half the biomass is being stored and half is being turned to solid biofuel. Alright guys. It's time. I almost don't want to. But it's time. All right. The final phase of early access. Employee of the planet. Delivery will unlock a small reward in the AWESOME shop. Status. Seal crate. 4,000 assembly director systems, each needing 2 adaptive control units and 1 supercomputer. 4,000 magnetic field generators, each required 5 versatile frameworks, 2 electromagnetic control rods, and 10 batteries. 1,000 thermal propulsion rockets, each of them requiring 5 modular engines, 2 turbo motors, 6 cooling systems, and 2 fused modular frames. 1,000 nuclear pasta, each requiring 200 copper powder and 1 pressure conversion cube. It's time, everyone. It is finally time. Well, there we go. That's it. That's everything they ever had to do. Unavailable in early access. Setting off the final stage of the space elevator. Rewards us with one thing for the awesome shop. This is it. The Employee of the Planet Cup. Nice. That looks pretty shiny, don't it? But I think we should treat ourselves to one more other thing from the awesome shop. Right here. A statue. let's place it right over here. I guess we might want to place it somewhere over here then. Let's try that again. I want to get this right. Here we are. Still not quite aligned perfectly. What about there? That is more like it. Alright. It's placed in perfection. Oh. Ah. Could spam it, that's funny. Well, I guess that's it. Well, everybody, this was Super Mario Rayman 1, and I think that's going to do it for this Let's Play of Satisfactory Update 6. Next time, we'll live stream a different game. What game? I'm not so sure yet, but I think I'll think of one. So everybody, this was Super Mario Rayman 1. And I will see ya mates later.